Good morning.
Good morning.
This is Owen,
This is Garrett.
and we are the White
White
Guys
Guys
podcast. Yep, the White Guy podcast. We just thought we'd make a little intro, just to explain kind of what the podcast is all about. We just watch
Bad movies.
bad movies, and we just talk about it.
And occasionally good ones.
Occasionally good ones, every few episodes.
Every few.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
that's it.
Enjoy the show.
Mm-hmm.
So today, we're talking about Velocipastor.
Velocipastor.
The hit film.
The hit film. Do you know who the director is? Just off the top of your
It's
head.
Brendan Steele.
Is it really?
Yes.
Brendan Steele.
Pretty sure it was written, filmed, and directed by Brendan Steele. So we can thank him for
I'm pretty sure that the actor had a part in it too. Cohan.
Doug
Something
Jones.
Cohan. Yeah, Doug Jones. I'm pretty sure
If that's his real name.
if that's your real name.
It's not. Idjit.
That's his real name in the movie. It might not be his real name IRL,
Oh.
but it is in the movie.
Mm.
His real name is Greg Cohan.
Really?
Pretty sure.
You knew that off
I
the
follow
top of
him
your
on
head?
Instagram.
No. I believe you, though.
That's how I get all
100%.
the updates on the second movie.
You don't follow the director. You follow the lead actor.
That's correct. I also follow the official Velocipastor account.
Do
I
you
get
follow
all the
Carol?
updates.
Do you follow
No,
Carol?
I don't follow Carol. Maybe I should follow Carol. Nah.
I don't know.
Greg.
You already like a stripper
That's-
too much.
Nope. We're not getting into that. Oh, wait. Ready?
Yeah, ready. The communal Dr. Pepper can.
Yep. It's going to sit right there for everyone to see. We're not sponsored. Yet. Okay, so
Okay.
we're talking about Velocipastor.
Yeah,
Owen, I need you to give me a rundown of the entire plot.
the entire plot.
I need you to describe the plot so that
Okay, so basically,
anyone that's watching who hasn't seen the film
hasn't seen the film
8 times like I have,
Yeah.
give us the
synopsis?
rundown, the
'Kay.
synopsis.
So Velocipastor is about this guy. His name is Doug Jones, and basically, his parents die in a tragic accident.
It's very tragic.
It's actually very visceral.
It's very like on film. It's very like raw.
It's
like
very
it's
raw.
very raw. It's very
His
violent.
emotions are on full display.
His emotions are on full.
It's
The
tough.
camera work is just.
Immaculate.
Anyway, sorry, we can't get into that yet. You finish your.
His parents die in a tragic accident, and he talks. He's a priest. That's important. Doug Jones is a priest, and he talks
True.
to
A Catholic priest,
to-
nonetheless.
yes,
That's
to,
important.
to Father Charles. To Father.
Yeah, Father. We'll call
Father-
him Father.
Father. And he's like, you need to go where God will not follow.
Where God will not follow.
Smash cut to China, which in fact
Enter
is east. Little did you know.
Little did you know, China is east. Anyway, so he
And-
goes where God will not follow.
Yeah, to
Eastwards to China.
China. Eastwards.
Okay.
And then while he's walking around, this girl who's running through the forest gets shot by an arrow.
Yeah.
Really. Yep.
Again,
visceral.
very violently, very raw.
Very, very violently, very raw.
Very visceral. Just like
very mindful, very
Boom!
demure.
right through her heart.
Through her heart.
Mm.
And then she rolls down the hill. The
Yeah.
arrow doesn't break because it's so solid.
Yeah.
And she has this little. It looks like a tooth. Is it supposed to be a stone?
They call it the dragon stone later in the film, but it looks very suspiciously like a tooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called. Keep in mind, it's called the dragon stone.
The dragon stone.
That's less important than you think.
True.
Anyway, he touches it, and he like stumbles 2 steps, and it just like cuts into his hand.
No. He very specifically, he stumbles 2 steps and then begins to fall, and he squeezes it so hard in his hand that it cuts his hand right across
Yeah.
the palm.
And then he starts feeling some type of way.
he starts tweaking.
Tweaking.
Yep.
And then does it happen here, or does he just go back? I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure he like blacks out and then he appears back in.
He blacks out and then he spawns in Father's room.
Yeah, back in the what's the priest equivalent of a convent?
A church? A cathedral?
Back in the church. He's back in the church now.
Yep.
And Father's there.
Father's there.
Consoles him,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. And how does he feel? How does Doug Jones feel?
He feels hungry. Exactly like that. That's how he says it every time.
Every single time.
Film.
So then he leaves and he goes to the park at night.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the Frankie Mermaid conversation, or is that for later?
Let's save that.
Okay.
So he's tweaking.
Right?
He's tweaking. So
he's running through the forest. Definitely not the one that was from China.
No, it's not the
It's
same
at night.
forest.
It's at night.
It is
so
at
there's
night.
no
That's
way.
true.
And he comes upon Carol being molested. Just kidding. She's being
Not
mugged.
actually. She's a
being
hooker
mugged.
though.
She is a hooker, but
Yeah.
she's being mugged by
True.
this guy who's like, "Your money or your life,"
Yeah, he talks like
like a cartoon villain.
essentially, yeah. But it's great. She's being mugged by this guy, and then luckily, in the nick of time, a literal Tyrannosaurus Rex comes in and just eats the guy. Just like straight up eats him.
His head is gone.
His head is gone. Like his body rolls across. Again, very raw, very visceral.
Very raw.
Very raw. And then our hero blacks out once again because the T-Rex was him.
Yeah.
He turned into
the
T-Rex.
T-Rex.
Yeah,
not the
that's important.
Velociraptor.
No, it's a
Not the
T-Rex.
pastor,
No,
because he's a priest.
it's
Not
a
the
T-Rex.
dragon.
No,
the
no,
T-Rex.
no. The priest turns into a T-Rex.
Into a T-Rex.
And then he blacks out
And
again.
I must note the costume is like he's a T-Rex, but it's not that T-Rex inflatable costume everyone knows about. It's some
It's like rubber.
bootleg Party City. Also, rip Party City. Trash.
Yeah, so anyway, after this, he blacks out and he wakes up in the hooker's bedroom.
In Carol's
and they
bed.
have this wonderful conversation where they both are speaking and they're both completely oblivious as to what the other person is talking about. So he, in his dirty mind,
He thinks he got hooked.
he thinks he got hooked, that she hookered him and somehow convinced him to sleep with her. She did it. She is talking about how he turned himself into a dinosaur and then ate the mugger right in front of her eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, funny little, misunderstanding. Honestly, one of the most iconic meet cutes in fiction.
It is. It's really incredible.
And then he's like, what? And she's like, I can show you the body. And he's like, what? But even more so.
Even more so.
So then they go to the body, which is the body headless still? Or does it have its head on again?
It doesn't show on screen.
I thought they showed does he?
They show his arm.
His arm.
Because he's buried in leaves.
His bloodied arm.
Yeah, yes. They show his arm because he's just buried in the leaves.
Yeah, and then Doug Jones lets out another signature. What?
Yep. And then
Star-Lord from Guardians 2.
Yeah, literally.
What?
Yeah. So, and then they have this whole conversation, and she's like, "You could do this. You could save so many people. You could go around disemboweling all of the drug lords and the bad guys on the street." And he's like, "But no." And then he's like, "I'm late for confession." And then he sprints through the forest back to the church.
like so fast. It's actually so funny. And in that entire scene, he's like in a dress he borrowed from her.
That's
He's
true.
in like the orange Velma dress.
Yes, that's true. I completely forgot about that. Because he's just woke up in her bed, right? So he doesn't have any clothes. So he's just like, do you have clothes I could borrow? And then he pops up in the next scene wearing like this dress. It's way too short.
It is such a short dress.
It's such a short
Oh my
dress.
gosh.
She's a hooker. It would be short.
True. But it also doesn't look like something a hooker would wear.
No, not at all.
It's way too like it's short, but it's modest at the same time. He's just too tall.
Yeah,
maybe.
must be.
His torso's too elongated.
Literally. Anyway, so he runs back to run
To
a confession
in
yeah,
priestly robes.
in priestly robes.
Not pastoring robes.
Priest. Yeah, he's a priest.
He's a priest.
Let's make that very clear. The Velocipastor is a priest,
Yeah.
not a pastor.
Yeah.
So yeah, he goes to the confession, and the guy who's in the confession starts talking, and it's
It's
the Frankie Mermaid. Yeah, Frankie Mermaid. Why do they call him Frankie Mermaid?
I'm not saying it.
Neither am I. You're gonna have to watch the movie for yourself. Anyway, Frankie Mermaid, and
Who was
he,
in an earlier scene.
yeah, he was in an earlier.
We just didn't
scene.
address it.
Yeah, because he's the pimp who hires Carol,
Who handles
the hooker.
Carol?
Yeah. So he starts going off about all of the sins that he's committed.
He
Like-
literally stole candy from a baby.
Yep, and then he threw the baby into the river so that he couldn't snitch. So that's just one example.
Where were
of-
the child's parents?
Who knows?
Who knows?
That's just one example of the many sins that Frankie Mermaid has
Frankie Mermaid
committed.
swimming in sins.
swimming in sins.
Aren't
See,
we
that
all?
would be funny if you've seen the movie
Yeah,
and
if
you know
you've-
why they call him
Yeah.
Frankie Mermaid.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then he starts talking about how he blew up this random couple in the parking lot of this very church. And Doug starts to put it together. He's like, wait a minute. My parents just got blown up in the parking lot of this very church.
Yeah.
Remember the very
that was
visceral.
That's the tragic accident.
Yeah, that was the.
They just exploded while they were outside of a stationary car.
Yeah, they were waving, and then, boom! They exploded.
And they exploded.
Very viscerally, very raw.
visceral, very raw.
Yep. So, and Doug is
In a
not-
very visceral and raw way.
reaches through the window of the confession and like
And
rips out
kills
a
him.
piece of Frankie Mermaid's neck
Yeah.
with his. What do you call it? A talon? If
Yeah,
it's
his
a dragon.
talons.
Is it a talon or is it a claw?
I guess it's a claw.
Is it?
Well,
They come from birds,
Velocipastors.
don't
Velocipastors have claws, Garrett. Velociraptors.
Velociraptors.
They have claws, right? Those are claws.
Are they claws?
I don't know. They're clalans. Claw talons.
Clalans.
Clalans.
I had a teacher in high school named McClellan.
Mm.
Anyway, so then he kind of panics because he's like, I just killed a man. And also
Mhm.
they never explain how like it all went down with father. Like I don't know if Doug like cleaned up the mess of the dead guy in the confession.
Oh, yeah.
or-
Because his like whole hand goes through the confession.
yeah, he
window.
like wrecks that confessional.
Yeah, there's blood spurting everywhere.
There is. It would be a hell of a time to clean up. I
Yeah.
would not want to be the.
Bro must have had a serial cleaner.
Yeah, literally. So anyway, I don't know how that happens. Doug just kind of leaves.
Yeah.
He goes back to Carol,
Carol.
the hooker from before, and he's like, "Wait a minute, I could do this." And
She's all grateful. She's like, "You killed Frankie Mermaid?
yeah.
The Frankie Mermaid?"
She's like,
She embraces him.
although I don't
lovingly.
know if she should be that happy about that because that was her only
her occupation.
that was her occupation that he just
to fund her pre-med law
yeah.
education.
Yeah. But that's besides the point.
Yeah.
So she's super excited because Frankie Mermaid is dead and off the streets. And Doug is kind of like, maybe I could rid the streets of the evildoers by turning
Yeah.
into a
Yup.
dinosaur. And he's like,
A dragon.
a dragon. So so they have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens next?
Then they team up.
Oh, yeah, then
He's
they
like-
team up.
He's all like, oh, also, this joke is so funny, but earlier when they're like in her room, she's like, you turned into a dinosaur and just ate that guy. And he's like, no, I don't kill people. And dinosaurs aren't real. They never existed. So then in this scene, she's like, you could take all the evil people off the street. And he's like, and you could teach me about dinosaurs.
Yeah, because he's a Christian, a Catholic, and dinosaurs didn't exist.
They weren't real.
They're not real. They're a figment of our imagination.
They're figments.
We made them up.
Yep.
Or the science made them up.
The science.
The science.
Then there's cue the montage.
The Rocky style montage, training montage.
He's training. He's doing like 17 times.
Really bad karate.
Really bad karate. No attacks, just the pose.
Yeah, he just kind of like.
And then he's like, she's teaching him about dinosaurs.
Yeah. And they get closer.
They get
and closer and closer.
Yeah. And what else happens? He's teaching her the Bible. He's giving her the Eucharist.
Yeah, that's true. There's a scene where he lovingly places the wafer
from two angles.
Yeah, that's true. They
needed two cameras for that.
Yeah, they got two angles of that one shot of him just
one shot
placing the bread in her mouth.
Alongside the like 5 other people in his congregation.
Yeah, literally.
And then what happens after that? He's sitting in Father's chambers reading Crime 2.
Crime number 2.
Crime number 2.
Which implies that there was a crime 1.
There's a crime 1.
And he's already read it.
The blasphemy.
The blasphemy of crime 2. Anyway.
Crime 2.
So he does the super awkward where Father walks in and Doug like panics, so he grabs a Bible and tries to put it on the other side of Crime 2 so that Father doesn't know that Doug was reading Crime 2.
But Crime 2 is like hilariously bigger than the Bible he tries to put.
It's like comically large compared to the Bible that he puts on the other side.
And Father's like interrogating him about his relations with Carol. No last name given.
No last name given.
As far as I can tell.
No, there's no last name given.
Were you gonna?
Yeah, so Father accuses him and warns him because he took a vow of chastity. And and he could be sinning.
Yeah.
Going against the vow of chastity.
Yeah.
But luckily Doug is like, no. Because nothing has happened. Let's make it very clear.
They haven't done anything.
They have done nothing.
I don't think
nothing
they've even
happened.
like. No, they held hands in like one shot.
No, they didn't hold hands. He
During
put his
the
arm around her.
No,
he does the super awkward like.
Yeah, that.
You know, you do the like.
Yeah.
Except he did it way less smooth than I just did. So anyway, Father accuses him, and Doug quotes scripture, but none of them are like actual scripture. He quotes like Matthew 32:24 or something.
Yeah, Matthew only has 28 chapters.
28, not
for
32.
the initiated.
Yep. And then Father locks him in the room.
Does he lock him in the room?
Yeah, he locks him in the room. Because then there's this scene of Carol like waiting outside the church for him, and she just kind of leaves.
Yeah.
She doesn't even really like make.
Is that ever really addressed?
No. She just kind of like is waiting, and then she's just not waiting anymore.
Yeah.
She just decides, well, that's enough waiting for tonight, and then she heads off.
That's enough waiting for tonight.
That's enough waiting for tonight, and then she just heads off.
And then, what happens next?
Pretty sure they do the exorcism.
The exorcism scene? Okay. So this exorcism, not real.
Yeah, so they bring him... Father...
Altair.
You take this.
Okay. Oh. Yeah, make sure the mic can hear your entire.
All right, continue.
Yeah. Okay, so they go to Altair to cure Doug Jones of his
Dinosaur-ness?
Velocipastoring. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's weird. The guy says he went to Father says he went to Altair before, but like, then they do a flashback, but the flashback isn't that.
Yeah. He's like, I haven't had to come to Altair since the war, or he says Vietnam, and then they do a Vietnam flashback of this whole like multiple scenes, but it has
With his
nothing
war
to do
buddy,
with Altair.
Ali.
Yeah, it has something to do with Ali, his
Ali
wartime
and
buddy,
Adelaide.
and Adeline.
Oh, Adeline.
And
My bad.
Adeline, not Adelaide.
Not Marmalade.
It's like this guy hasn't seen the movie 8 times. So they do this Vietnam
I haven't
flashback.
actually. I've
So
only
they-
seen it 4. I'm only half as crazy as you are.
So they do this Vietnam flashback where Father is young now. He has blonde, like curly hair.
But still the same hair under the wig.
Yeah. So they're doing the scene, and he's like talking to his buddy, his
war
wartime buddy, Ali,
Ali.
and Ali does his signature smile.
Yep. There it is right there. Name
And-
your kid after Ali, your wartime buddy, who never got shot and always smiled. I can't
Just
do it.
like
You can do
this.
it.
And then he immediately gets shot in the chest. Immediately.
No pause.
He does the smile, talks about how Father should name his child after him, and then immediately gets shot and dies. Like
Yeah.
instantly.
Instantly.
Instantaneously.
Insert them Viet Cong. Anyway.
So then Father is just kind of depressed.
Depressed.
So he goes back to the like base or whatever,
Yeah.
and he's just kind of chilling there when he hears a woman's voice in the woods
A
yelling.
female. Father.
Yeah. She yells his name, and he's
Whatever it is.
and he's like, Adeline?
Adeline!
And he starts yelling, and he's standing there, open arms, and
Open
she's
arms.
running through the forest. I don't know how she got to Vietnam.
Yeah.
That's never addressed.
Never addressed.
Why she's in Vietnam?
The same way Doug got back to, what is it, the slums of Detroit?
Yeah, Adeline must have the slums of Detroit.
It's the only option.
Adeline got there the same way that Doug got to China.
Yeah. And back.
So, Adeline, and she's running through the forest to him. Adeline, and then boom! She just blows up in his face.
like, there's nothing left.
No,
It's just blood. Like, it's like they did the ice bucket challenge, but it was just blood.
They
and
do-
an arm. There is an arm.
yeah, it's filmed. If you go and slow it down, it's like basically just a cut. They turn it from like her running, and then the next frame is just like a bucket of blood that's been like tossed at Father, and it sprays him in the face. He's drenched like head to toe.
Yeah.
It's like red all around, all
Yeah.
in the air.
And like one of the other guys walks up and he's like he like grabs Father's shoulder and he's like, there's nothing we can do for her now.
She's too far
She's
gone.
too far gone.
As if she didn't just blow up into literal liquid.
Liquid. Comics could bring her back. If she was
That's
in a
true.
comic, she could come back.
That's true.
But then and then they're like, I wonder what she was doing out in the forest.
Maybe she was trying to start a family.
What? Anyway, then they flash
Then
back
they go,
to
oh, right, exorcism.
back to the exorcism, which you probably forgot was happening
Yeah,
by this point.
That was a long flashback.
Long
But they cut back to
flashback.
this exorcism,
Yeah.
and they're doing the tarot cards.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're reciting.
They're doing a séance, except it's an exorcism.
Yeah.
So like,
they're just kind of going
I'm
off.
unfamiliar with Catholic procedure, but I'm pretty sure you don't do a séance
In an exorcism.
in an exorcism. Also, like, do the producers not know that like Catholics did exorcisms? Like they had to go to this new age
Yeah.
fella.
This new aged fella. It's like the stereotypical guy that you would assume would be doing an exorcism.
Yeah.
He's got all the weird
He has
things
a beard
on his
that's
walls.
well trimmed and not well trimmed at the
He has
same time.
elf ears.
He does have elf
He has
ears.
elf ears. They're doing this exorcism, and
Yeah.
they're like,
Oh, and he has lots of eyeshadow. That's
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's just like this stereotypical guy you'd go to it for an exorcism.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
exactly like you'd expect,
Yeah.
as one does. And they're doing this exorcism, and they're like, Doug, how do you feel? And he's like, he just kind of lists. He's like, I feel kind of cold. And they're like, that's normal. What else? He's like, anxiety. And they're like, that's also pretty normal. What else? And then he's like, I feel empty,
No,
And then-
that's not it.
hungry. and then he turns into a dinosaur, and he rips out Father's eye. Like,
Yeah.
just like, bloop, and then takes
The
it
other
out.
times we said visceral and raw, they were visceral and raw, but this was visceral. and
This
raw.
was visceral and raw. So he rips out Father's eye, just like has it in his little talon, claw, whatever you want.
Yeah, he doesn't like fully transform. His eyes are just like yellow, and he's got like, you know, like the Hulk hands. They're like that, but dinosaur hands
like this. He just kind of walks around like this.
with three talons.
And he does the, like, you know,
the
the
Nosferatu
the
pose
Nosferatu pose. Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's like doing the little like
from the 1922 movie, not to be mistaken with the 2024 remake.
true.
He does the.
He's doing the like the Avatar thing where he just kind of like bounces on the spot as he
Oh.
walks away. He's like,
gyrating.
and then he goes off in the other direction.
Yeah.
And he disappears. And Altair's like, what have I done?
You know, he's like, the hounds of hell are truly unleashed.
No, you're right. That is what he said.
So bad. I mean, it's great. It's a masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece. It's not bad.
It's not bad.
Greatest movie to ever exist. You
To
can quote me
ever
on that.
exist.
I've seen it 8 times. I can say that.
Yeah, he can say that.
So anyway,
And he watches Christopher Nolan. He
That's
knows what
true.
he's talking about.
yeah, I watch Christopher Nolan, so I'm basically a film genius.
He's a cinephile.
Cinephile. Okay. So now
Then-
that we have established that, let's
Yeah.
continue. So he goes back to Carol,
to Carol.
and he's like,
He's feeling all guilty like.
I killed father. And he's like really sad.
Uh-huh.
And then it's the greatest scene.
How
in
did they
all of cinema.
transition from I killed father into just
I don't know, but it works so well.
it does work really well.
Like the movie, okay, for just so you guys understand, the movie is only an hour and 15 minutes long. So the plot moves like absurdly fast. Every next time you watch it, it just feels shorter.
yeah.
Because like you know all the major parts and you expect that there's going to be like filler between them,
Uh-huh.
and then there's just none. There's no
It's not-
filler.
It's all important.
It's all important. They just
not
move
a
from thing
not
to
a
thing.
second is wasted.
Wait, we haven't even talked about the cocaine ninjas.
Do we have to? Oh yeah, we have
Yeah,
to
we have
because they
to.
show. Okay, before this scene, which we haven't actually started to describe, there's a cutaway to
The villains of the entire film.
yes, the villains of the film.
Yep.
One of them's Ginger,
Yeah, one of them looks exactly like me.
like my friend here.
Yeah, whenever we watch it with our friends, they're always like, "Oh, look, there's Garrett,"
There's Garrett.
because he looks exactly the same. The same
Mhm.
like curly hair.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Um,
but these guys are they're like ninjas.
they're ninjas, like the one that killed that girl at the beginning.
Yeah.
Do you remember that girl?
Yeah, that girl that
The-
you probably don't remember that girl because it was basically insignificant to the plot.
Except it's like the most important part of the plot.
Yeah.
because she
But-
gives him this. Because she makes him the dragon warrior.
The Dragon Warrior. So the cocaine. No, we haven't got to the cocaine yet.
They're
so
just
they're
ninjas.
They're all wearing the like
one of
ninja
them's,
robes.
One of them's ginger and the other one's Asian,
Chinese?
Chinese,
Asian? I don't know.
I don't know.
Or-
Is that the?
Oriental. The other one's Oriental. So they're just kind of chilling, but they explain this plan later. We'll get to that, but I'm going to explain it just so that their motives make sense.
Okay.
Essentially, their plan is to make the most potent and best cocaine possible to get everyone the most high and the most addicted so that everyone will get addicted to cocaine and then everyone will be depressed and then everyone will have to go to a help group.
Yeah, because they pull all the cocaine off the market.
Yeah, because they'll make everyone super addicted with this brand new cocaine, and then they'll just pull everything out, and everyone will be horrified. They'll all have to go to a help
in
group.
withdrawal.
They'll all be in withdrawal.
Withdrawal.
So they'll all go to a help group, and then that's where the cocaine ninjas will spread Christianity through the help group.
Through the help groups.
Yeah, so their elaborate plan is actually just to spread the word, but in the most cocaine-filled way possible.
The most cocaine-filled way.
The most
The
cocaine.
most illicit way possible.
Yeah. So that's the villains.
That's the villains. And yeah.
Yeah, that's essentially all you need to know about them because
Yeah.
they only show up like 3 times.
Yeah.
So back to the present. We're in Carol's bedroom. Doug is sad
Very
because
sad.
Doug just killed his mentor, Father. Doug starts venting to Carol.
He's venting.
He's venting to Carol. And then
And then.
they kiss. They do the
Devil's Tango.
yeah. But it's the best scene in the entire
It's the
movie.
best scene in the entire movie.
They turn it into this
It
montage.
shouldn't be by
No, it
any
shouldn't be.
means.
At all, because it does kind of come out of no. Well, not really.
Yeah,
they do kind of
have-
build up the relationship.
Yeah, they have chemistry.
Yeah,
I
they have
think.
good
I think
chemistry.
they have chemistry.
They have good chemistry.
Yeah.
So, but they do it as this montage. They have like multiple scenes showing on the screen at once.
Mhm.
They have, and then at one point, on the musical beats, they just cut back through like the entire
movie.
up to this point.
Every single scene.
is in this one scene,
And
They
it's
just-
at like 50 times speed. Like it's the entire movie up to the moment they started this
It's
scene.
actually incredible.
It is incredible.
Like it's so good.
Oh, it's so good.
So yeah, they do that,
Yep.
and then they wake up the next morning, and every window in her bedroom has been left open because that's what someone does when they're
That's what a hooker in the slums of Detroit
would do.
would do.
They should have all her windows open.
Yeah.
And the cocaine ninjas, well, 3 of them, jump through the windows, dive roll into the
They
room,
leap
and
into
then
the room.
and then they're like ah, and then Doug and Carol wake up, and
they,
in their underwear, they
in the undergarments.
they beat up every single one
Every
of
single
the
ninja.
ninjas.
And Carol does like this insane superhero pose at the end that's like what?
That's like what?
Just what? Like it's the pose Black Widow does after she does her like crazy leg attack.
yeah.
You know what
When she
know
does
what
the like hair flip.
Yeah, she does the hair flip and she like lands. But like Black Widow's legs are usually like bent and she's like on the ground, but like Carol's legs are just completely straight and her hand is like reaching down and
Yeah.
she does the hair flip and I don't know, it still looks good, but it's just odd.
It is a little bit strange. But she does that. They defeat all the ninjas,
Yeah.
and then
They interrogate.
they
one,
like
right?
well, one of them's just kind of like on the brink of death. He says a few things. I don't remember what the lines are just off the top
who
of
even
my head.
knows?
Who even knows? But he says something about like remember your faith, Father Doug, Father Jones,
Father Jones.
Father Jones. Says something along those lines, and
That's
then
probably
he.
actually the line.
I'm pretty sure that is
I
the
think
line.
that's the line.
Yeah, and then he dies.
Yeah.
Because they punched him so hard, or something.
I don't know.
Okay, and then they do a suit up scene,
Yeah.
and then we cut back to the cocaine ninjas.
Who are with Father?
Yeah,
Who's
Father's
still
alive.
He's alive.
He just has no. He's wearing an eye patch now.
yeah,
'cause he
he's
doesn't
wearing
have
an
an eye.
He has less eyes.
Yeah, so they cut back to the cocaine ninjas, and
they
they
explain their plan.
yeah they explain that plan that I explained earlier about the help groups.
Yeah.
The leader, the Oriental one,
yeah.
just kind of discusses
The
all of his
whole
plans
thing
with Father.
with Father.
Yeah.
I feel like we have to talk about the priest college scene in the car with the parents.
We'll
missed
get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay.
I don't even think we need to explain that.
But it happens twice. The second time is like, okay, whatever. They get to the
Cocaine Ninjas
encampment.
base. Yeah, it's like they just have a bunch of tents.
It's like 2 tents.
yeah,
And like a sign.
yeah,
And
that's
I
true.
think that's it.
That is pretty much it. And they get there, and they're like doing their weird karate poses and everything.
Yeah, and
They're wearing all leather too. I'm
is
pretty
Carol
sure.
wearing leather? I don't think she's wearing leather.
She might not be.
Doug is wearing
She's
leather.
just
for
wearing
sure.
the most like inconvenient and not battle ready outfit of all
Yeah.
time.
Like every female outfit in video games ever.
Yeah, literally.
She's just wearing that.
And Doug is wearing like a
With
leather
even less
jacket
armor.
and like jeans.
Yeah. Then they fight.
Yeah, then they fight.
Then they fight.
And it's revealed that the ginger character that
ginger
looks
character.
exactly like me is actually Doug Jones's younger brother.
Yeah, Garrett is Doug Jones' younger brother.
Yeah.
That's
Doug-
why he's so invested in this film. It's his
The-
life story.
Yeah, literally. So then they do this cut back. This is what we were talking about just a second ago. They do this cut back to the scene where it like they do a bunch of shots of like Doug and his parents.
Yeah, just
When-
laughing.
Yeah, just like laughing and being.
They don't talk, they just laugh.
Yeah, literally.
And when they talk, it's over the laughing. It's so funny.
They just have the laughing going on in the background, and they talk like voice recordings over
Yeah,
it.
ADR. It's so funny.
And all of the lines are like, "We love you, Doug. You are
You
our
are
only
only
son."
son.
and then in this scene, when it's revealed that he's his brother, they go back to all of those shots, and they just
He's just there.
he's just kind of in the background, just
but
kind
off
of
to the side.
watching.
In the car, there's a scene where they're in the car and like Doug is in the front seat with his dad and then his mom is in the back seat. The ginger comes like out of the trunk space. He's not even worthy of being in the back seat.
No, he doesn't exist.
He's not
in
real.
His parents' minds.
He's not real.
He's not real.
Is he real? Like they never acknowledge him.
I don't know, man.
Do we even know that he's actually his brother? Or does he only claim to be so?
No, he is.
He is?
Yeah, because of a scene in the future. So then they do this fight. The first main fight is between Doug Jones and his brother, and they're fighting and whatnot. And then his brother's sword gets thrown into the dirt.
He
right?
pulls out the sword of his ancestors.
He pulls out the sword of his ancestors, and at the beginning of the fight, he's like, "I will not
stain this sword with the blood of
I will
don't
not
know.
stain the sword of my ancestors with your blood." And he puts it in the dirt and like doesn't fight with it.
Yeah.
And then they do the whole fight scene, and Doug Jones gets like knocked to the ground, and his brother goes to get the sword. Is like walking over, and he's like probably doing a monologue of some sort.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then Doug just stands up, and the sword, as if he has the force, just flies to his hand. And he's like, "My ancestors are your ancestors."
He does like the Braveheart pose.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then he runs forward and stabs his brother in the stomach, and blood sprays at him for probably a good like 10 seconds straight.
And his mouth is open.
Yeah, he's like
the whole time.
he's like screaming.
He's covered in blood.
He's
But it's
covered
really
in
only
blood.
his face. Like his leather jacket is pretty much chilling.
His leather jacket is pretty clean.
Yeah.
The blood only spurts on his face.
Yeah.
And
his
he gets
V-neck area.
and then his face is like red. But either way, he's screaming. He just stabs his brother, and his brother just kind of like bleh, dies. And then we cut to Carol, who's fighting the ninjas.
Yeah. And then
Well,
one guy.
Yeah, the other ninjas, and she
The other
defeats like
ninjas.
5 of them.
Yeah.
And then one guy just kind of walks out, and she just kind of stands there.
He comes out with a sword and he's like really tall.
Yeah, kind of menacing.
A little menacing.
A little bit menacing. He comes with a sword and just like slashes it across her chest, and she's just like, ah! And
She like turns around all dramatically and faces the camera.
Yep.
And then she falls.
Yeah, she just kind of falls, and then Doug is like, he must have just been like sitting in the same spot where his brother, like over his
Just
brother's
perished.
body, and
where
then
his
he's-
life just ebbed away.
Yeah, literally. And then he turns around and he's like, "Carol!" And then he runs
Carol!
over. Carol! And he runs over and he like, I don't know, consoles her.
He grabs her, he consoles her as she's perishing.
Yeah, and then she dies in his arms.
So much, she spits in his mouth basically with her blood. That she got slashed across the chest, but the blood is coming out of her mouth, and
Yeah.
it's pretty gross,
It is.
honestly.
It like drips out.
Yeah, it drips out
And
until
then,
she's like, and then like more comes. It's so gross.
yeah. So the blood just kind of drips out,
So now he has 2 different people's blood in his mouth.
and he kisses her.
Oh yeah, he does
She
kiss her.
dies in his arms, and then she kisses.
No, she doesn't die. She doesn't die.
She does die
She dies?
in that scene.
No way, she dies in that scene.
It sure seems like it. They make it seem like she dies.
Oh yeah, she does take her. She does take a really
She takes like a
exaggerated
last
breath.
She's she essentially dies.
She essentially
She's
dies.
dead. And then Doug just kisses her dead body.
Ugh.
And mind you, this whole time, all of the ninjas are like standing and they're like watching this.
One of
this
them's like
happen.
mourning for them. It's so
All
funny.
of them are standing and watching, like sadly, like they're all just like. And they're as Doug just consoles her.
Yeah.
Then he stands up.
And he roars.
He roars.
And he turns into the Velocipastor.
The Velocipastor.
The Velocipastor.
He turns into a Tyrannosaurus Rex and just massacres
all of them.
all of the
In the
cocaine
most,
ninjas.
like, in the best action scene you've ever witnessed.
It was incredible.
It was incredible.
This is
Better
where
than,
that-
like, all of Marvel.
Yeah, literally.
Doesn't stand a chance.
This is where that Party City suit comes into play because he's wearing it.
Because he's wearing it.
He's fully dinosaur
He's decked
now.
out.
It's not just his talons. It's a full
the
dinosaur.
the whole outfit.
Yeah, so he defeats all of the cocaine ninjas.
Yeah.
And then the boss one comes over and like just shoots him in the leg once.
With
with
an
an
arrow.
arrow? The
And
same-
the like the film reel comes out and it like cuts. It's so funny.
Yeah, they like zoom out to like the film reel, if you know what
And
we
it looks
mean.
like it's getting corrupted. And
Yeah, and then it just kind of like stutters.
Yeah, it stutters between two frames.
And
One
then-
of him in the Velocipastor thing, and one of him is just a guy.
And the other one has a guy just going like
yeah,
that.
it's so funny.
And then it settles on the one of him just as a guy
Yeah, and he falls down
like that, and he falls down because he's just been
in
shot
agony. In agony.
in agony, and he's like dying. And then the
Yeah.
other guy comes over, and he's like
Kneels next to him.
kneels next to him, and he does probably another one-liner monologue
Yeah,
thing.
definitely a
remember.
monologue.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Do you have any last words?" And he also has this weird accent.
He does have a weird accent.
Anyway, you'd have to watch the movie.
Yeah.
And he comes over to Doug and he's like, "Do you have any last words?"
Only 6. I can't remember what they are.
No.
Oh wait, I think my hands are immune.
Only.
I think my hands are immune.
Yeah, he says, "Let's role play it." Okay, ready?
Oh, okay.
So I'll be the Oriental man.
The Oriental guy. Okay.
Yep, and you can be Doug Jones.
Okay.
Do you have any last words, Doug?
Only 6. I think my hands are immune. You cannot count. This is why he's in university, folks.
I think that was 7 words.
I
Only
think
6. I think my hands are immune.
It's 6 after that.
It's
only
5 after that.
I think my hands are immune.
Oh, that's 6.
6.
You're right. I can't count.
See
You
what I
were
meant, guys?
right. Anyway.
Anyway.
and then after that, he has the talons
strangles
again.
him.
He has the talons again, and he strangles the cocaine ninja boss man,
Yeah.
and then rips off his head once
Yeah.
again.
Very
Viscerally.
visceral.
Viscerally.
Raw.
Oh, and we forgot to mention that the cocaine ninja boss man actually does kill Father. Father is dead now.
He kills Father. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he stabs him with
Yeah,
the
he
dagger.
stabs him. Because
forgot
he
about
tells him
that.
his whole plan, and then Father's like, "No, you can't do that. That's not very Christian."
It's
And
not
then he's
very
like,
Christian.
"Bloop," and stabs him,
And he stabs him.
and he dies. And now Doug Jones is like, just kind of screaming. Now he's covered in
Yeah.
like 3 different people's blood.
Yeah. This blood has entered his mouth as well. He's
Yeah.
I'm surprised Carol doesn't have any
I'm surprised he doesn't have AIDS
AIDS. Yeah, literally.
from all the blood that he just swallowed.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he pulls off the head and he just kind of screams again
He's
for another like
swallowing that blood like he has an iron deficiency.
yeah. So he's standing there screaming for another probably
With the head in his hand.
with the head in his hand for probably another like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And once again he's like, Carol, and then he runs back over to Carol, and we cut to the hospital scene
Yeah.
where the doctor walks in, all
Yeah.
proud and like
All proud.
all proud like, and he sits down next to Doug, and he's like, he pulls a
He pulls a cigarette out of the ashtray.
yeah, he like picks up the ashtray, shuffles through it, picks the best cigarette, lights it, puts it in his mouth, and he's like, "We did it."
We did it.
And then
She's gonna make a full recovery.
She's gonna make a full recovery. And then Doug goes in and he's like, "You're fine?" She's like, I'm fine. And then he's like, "You're fine?" And then she's like, I'm fine. And then the screen says, she's fine. And she's fine.
Yeah, and she's okay.
And she's okay. She lived. She didn't die.
She didn't die.
She
even though
didn't
she
die.
drew her last breath.
Yeah, even though she literally died on screen, she didn't die. She made a full recovery because the doctor is just so
He's so
good.
exceptional.
Exceptional.
Then they're like standing on a hill with his car,
Yeah, the final scene.
his new car. He's in his leather jacket again, and she's like, "You know, the church will never stop."
Speaking of the Cocaine Ninja Church,
the Cocaine
I assume.
Ninja Church, yeah.
And he's like, yeah, or something. He's wearing sunglasses.
Yeah.
He takes them off, and he's like, "I'll do what I do best." And then they kiss, and then the movie ends.
Yeah, and then like over the credits, isn't it just them driving in
Yep.
the car?
Yep. Teasing
With
the
the
second
best green screen you've ever seen.
one. Yep.
There ain't nothing better.
No. And then the movie ends. The greatest
Yeah, the
movie you've
ends.
ever watched.
The greatest movie of all time.
Like, it's actually incredible.
The GOAT.
Yeah, the GOAT. If you guys ever have a chance to watch the film, do it.
Do it. And if you have a chance to watch it again, if you've already seen it, rewatch
It's
it.
better the second
It's-
time.
I think it legitimately gets better every single time.
Yep. Just, yeah. It
Yeah.
gets better I could watch that movie. I've seen it 8 times. I could probably watch it another 8 times.
Dang.
At least.
At least.
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie.
Good. One thing that they do a lot in the movie is just the way that they film it, the like camera movements
Mm-hmm.
are like hilarious.
They are
100%
hilarious.
of the time. At the beginning when his parents die, he's like, "No!"
No!
And it zooms in and then it just pans
Goes
up
up.
and kind of like wobbles. It just keeps going
Keeps
up
going up.
for way longer than you'd think.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Good stuff.
Yeah. The dialogue is also perfect.
The dialogue
I
is
love in the
incredible.
confession scene when Frankie Mermaid talks about how he killed someone and Doug is like, "You've drawn blood from malice?" What does that mean? What does that mean?
You've drawn blood
From
malice?
malice? It's so funny.
And then Frankie Mermaid is like, nah, more like for fun
For
or
fun.
for business.
He's into it.
He is
I hate
into
to
it.
say it, but he's into it.
He gets off on violence.
He does.
He literally
Oh my
does.
gosh, it's so vile. Yeah, but he is a villain, so
That's true.
Yep.
That's true.
Villains,
Villains?
top tier.
The villains are top tier.
Yeah,
The Cocaine Ninjas are like a 10 out of 10 villain group.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't know
They
what
have charisma.
they do.
That scene where they laugh is intimidating.
Oh my gosh. The main guy, the like Oriental guy, actually has kind of a good like
Good
evil
evil
laugh,
villain laugh.
maniacal like
Yeah.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the ginger just kind of goes like ma yee ba ba, and he just kind of goes off beside him.
Yeah,
It's really funny
it's
because
so
it
funny.
also stretches on for way longer than it should.
but not a second is wasted.
But not a second is wasted because he just morphs his laugh constantly.
Constantly. The soundtrack. They did not need some highbrow music studio for their music
No, they didn't.
because the song that plays during the best scene
the best scene.
is pretty solid.
Yeah,
it
all of the
fits, it
sounds.
fits, yeah.
Are pretty solid.
Pretty solid.
They-
It's a very creative movie. Like
It's very creative.
really creative.
They do the entire film on a budget of like $35,000,
yeah, it's
which
awesome.
is absurd.
Yeah,
Like it's a
so
bad
good.
movie, but it's one of those movies that's like trying to be bad and it does it in a way that is good.
Yeah.
One of very few movies that can actually do it like well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of movies try and do that and just
fail.
end up just
Face
being
plant.
bad.
Yeah,
But this one's really good.
This one's really good.
So they do it on a budget of like $35,000,
35,000.
which is crazy.
It
And it
is
was like a
crazy.
student film. I'm pretty sure
Is it a
was like
student film?
I'm pretty sure that the guy who
Brendan
did it
Steele?
did it for like a school project.
Dang.
And then it just kind of blew up in like 2020.
I hope he aced that project.
I also
I
hope
have
he
to say.
aced that project. It was a really good movie.
It was a really good movie
yeah.
to be enjoyed for years,
For years
decades,
to come.
perhaps even millennia.
Mil-
Alu millennia.
millennia. Yeah. And there's a second movie.
There is a second
but
movie.
The second movie,
It's like Hollow Knight Silk Song. It's so highly anticipated, but like they wrapped filming in 2023 and it's still not out.
yeah, they like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, they announced it in like 2021 and put like a Kickstarter
Mhm.
and made like $50,000 in like the first like month or something.
Yeah.
It's upwards of like 130 now, I think
Mhm.
is what they ended up with. And then they like went to make the film and they
Mhm.
wrapped filming at like the end of 2023
Yeah.
and then there's still like no movie.
yeah.
there's no
There's
Velocipastor
still
2.
no Velocipastor 2.
There's a trailer. It's
Is
like
there a
teaser.
trailer? I didn't know
Yeah,
there was
but
a trailer.
there's no real like
Footage.
footage.
Oh.
It's
It
just
has like a
teaser.
synopsis. They're fighting
That's
like
true.
a sex addict.
Yeah, like a
serial killer
a sex murderer or something.
in Milan
In Milan,
during
Italy.
a fashion show.
Yeah, it's gonna be incredible. I cannot tell you how excited I am for this film, Velocipastor 2,
The sequel.
the sequel. I follow the Velocipastor account and they post monthly updates.
Really?
They do,
Oh.
yeah, but they're not that. I don't think they're very close. Like and every one they say it's coming soon.
It's coming soon.
It's coming soon, but I don't.
It's gonna take as long as Beyond the Spider-Verse, like,
Oh my gosh,
and it will be
yes.
just as good,
it'll be just as good.
if not better.
If not better than Beyond the Spider-Verse. Like, it's gonna be incredible. And I literally cannot wait. Like, I've seen the first one 8 times. I'm ready to just watch the second one 8 times in a row.
In a row.
Like 8.
We could do that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
That would be incredible.
It would be incredible.
I would like travel
To the film festival.
to a film festival to see this film. Like, I actually am so excited. But yeah,
Yeah.
the first one is incredible.
Yeah.
The first time we watched it, the first time we watched it together, we watched it at like a summer camp in like the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And just like we watched it, we started by ourselves, and by the end there was like 17 people sitting around my laptop screen because it keeps getting better.
Yeah.
And we
it's
were-
so funny.
Yeah, and we were laughing, so then people would just kind of gather. It was
Mhm.
so good.
Yeah, it was so good.
And the first time I watched it was when I watched it with a bunch of friends in like high school because I saw clips from it and I thought they were the funniest thing I've ever seen. And then we watched the full thing, and it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. the greatest film of all time.
The greatest
The-
film of
the-
all time.
Greatest film of all time. Describe how good it is in potato chip form.
Potato chip form's very subjective. It's the
I swear, if you say ketchup chips.
I wasn't gonna say ketchup chip.
Okay, good.
I don't know if I've ever even eaten ketchup chip.
What?
Yeah.
You-
don't say what.
What?
You were disappointed if I'd
That's
said
like
it.
a Canadian. That's like well, I've had them. I don't like them, but it
Mm.
is an iconic Canadian snack.
Canadian item.
Yeah, Canadian item.
I
snack
think.
item, food
Okay,
item.
I've got it.
Okay.
Doritos are a potato chip, right? Is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the sweet chili heat
Oh.
of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's very few movies that I would consider to be as good as Velocipastor. This is the rating system. It's either better than Velocipastor or worse, than Velocipastor. There's no in between,
Yeah.
and it's always one or the other.
Yeah.
Most of them are worse. Most films aren't
Most
as
of
good.
them are worse. Some come close, like Oppenheimer,
Oppenheimer.
but they still fall short.
Sorry. Let's put the Dr. Pepper back in its spot.
Wait, it's not even the brand isn't facing
it
the
is,
camera.
it
Is it?
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
facing the camera.
Okay. Good.
You guys need to see.
Reminder: we're not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
We're
but
not
we should
breaking
be.
the law
Please,
right now.
please, 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 please
Please.
sponsor us.
Please
That would be
sponsor us.
my dream. I have an actual addiction. So fuel my addiction, please.
Please.
I would appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have to say
think
about the
that's-
movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the best.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. The goat.
The goat.
The goat.
The goat.
The goat.
The greatest film.
Film
The greatest
of all
film
time.
ever.
Best hour and 15 minutes you could ever spend.
This is true. Now the next discussion we're gonna have is gonna be a little longer than an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We did like a month ago now, multiple months ago.
No,
now?
it was in November. It was
in November. Many moons
many
ago.
moons ago.
So many moons ago, we did a movie
Sharknado marathon.
of every Sharknado
We watched
movie.
all 6 of them back to back
Back to back in one afternoon.
in one afternoon.
And let me tell you, it was incredible.
It was
It was
incredible.
an experience
unlike any other.
unlike
truly.
any other. An experience that I don't think I could put into words, but I will.
But we
on
will.
the podcast.
Whenever
The
that happens on
podcast.
the podcast. Untitled heretofore.
Untitled here for now.
Yeah.
Untitled for now.
For now.
It will have a name.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
thanks for watching, listening,
Yeah. Listening,
viewing,
viewing, Yeah.
bearing witness to.
bearing witness to.
Thank you for bearing witness to our podcast here today.
Thanks for listening to us
just rant
in your
about
car, at work,
wherever
in
you
the
are.
bathroom if you're freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you
Yeah.
next time.
Yeah. See you next time. Forever yours.
Owen and Garrett.
Yeah, that's good. That's it.